Jakari and I were standing outside of the mayor's office, and they had just burnt one of the police cars, lit it on fire, and Jakari and I were getting footage. One of the police officers goes, "Oh, hey, Joe Biggs." And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, man, I really liked your video last night where you called me a grumpy old fart." And then he pulled out his baton and whacked me in the leg, but he was laughing while he was doing it.
He didn't do it too hard, did he?
No. I mean, he was just kind of like, get out of here and just like screwing with me.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny, but at the same time, pretty sick and messed up.
Yeah, well, you could have responded to that unlawful order by breaking his jaw, but whatever. Defend the Republic, folks. Joe, stay there. You're going to ride shotgun with David Knight coming in. Stay with us. Joe Biggs is getting a new battery. David Knight is about to take over. Biggs will just be popping in from different locations with live coverage of the UCLA shooting. Now, they're now saying, in the Associated Press here, a murder-suicide. So that happened over 2 hours ago. They responded 15 minutes into it. And I was just watching live footage on Fox News. Can we back that up and play that for TV viewers as we cover the media here? They have like all these women, Hispanic, white, and black women with their hands up when it was a white male and a supposed white woman that got shot. That's what they're saying. So, I mean, just randomly have the cops put their hands up, too. This is about becoming a suspect, being treated like a criminal. This is happening at 12:05 Pacific. That's 2 hours ago. We're in Central Time, 2:09. This is like 4 minutes ago. This is going on with 1,000-plus police. I mean, how do we trust the guys in the uniforms here? Or some woman here? And I'm not saying they're terrorists. I'm saying you just randomly line up a bunch of women. Here, you're a Hispanic woman, a black woman, a white woman. Here, the suspect was a white male, but let's just line you up. This is crazy. Joe Biggs is getting back to his car to get another battery. Doing a great job there. David Knight's about to take over with a huge raft of news. But notice, that's why I say support us. We're going to Bilderberg. We're going to RNC. We're going to DNC. We are covering every week now. We've got reporters all over the country. It ain't cheap. And I'm not complaining. I'm fighting as hard as I can. You guys buying the products are like oxygen in our bloodstream. And imagine we're in a boxing match. I've got the will to fight, but I'm old. I got a fighter's heart, but I need oxygen. And the more money you put into us, the more reporters, the more video editors, the more camera people, the more crew we have, the more writers, investigative journalists, anchors. And this is the liberating fight. This is the fight against tyranny. So we're running a bunch of specials. We've got a new incredible air filter that destroys the competition that's close to $1,000. This is $180-something. And it's just amazing. The revolutionary Alexa Pure Breeze is available with ion cluster technology and more. It's got 4 filters in it. Truly amazing. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com. And we've got a bunch of other specials running on nutraceuticals right now. But this is how we're able to have Joe Biggs, who loves to be on the road. What a fighter. What a tiger. What a lion. What a sheepdog. He is just all over the country. He was on the East Coast when they were trying to shut down free speech for veterans just 2 days ago. Now he's on the West Coast being attacked by these people. Videos going viral. I wanted to get him back up to briefly ask him about these new characters that tried to shut down his free speech that are linked up on Infowars.com. But as soon as he comes back, we can talk about these anti-free speech goons that are just simply amazing. In their vitriol, here it is, threat to freedom, feminist goons. How are they feminists? They don't act like women. They don't look like women. And that's fine. They want to be men, but they want to tell women what to do. These women want to run women's lives, in my view, my opinion. They want to be the guy wearing the wife beater. They want to be, who's the guy married with children, or the Archie Bunker. Feminist amendment, First Amendment now, it's the Feminist Amendment, only they can talk. First Amendment now attacked as much as the Second. Alice the Goon and her fellow feminists, it's like a man, want to eradicate the First Amendment because free speech hurts their feelings. Let's now go ahead and turn. I'm going to hand the baton to my compadre, my friend, David Knight. Watching the last 3 hours as you get ready for the show and doing research. This whole thing really smells in UCLA. I mean, let's say it's not a false flag. A murder-suicide, 2+ hours lockdown, top story in the country. This is how you really brainwash the public against guns. David Knight, the baton's yours.
Yeah, Alex, actually, when we look at this, Alex, this is what we're seeing every time there's an incident. We see this overreaction. And as you're talking about these social justice warriors, I got to say, I expect it from a lot of these people. I really had a punch in my gut this last weekend when I watched the Libertarian Party select these statists for their presidential campaign. I watched them betray the Second Amendment, something I thought I would never see within the Libertarian Party. Let me read to you from the Libertarian Party platform, and this is what has been there the entire time I've known about the Libertarian Party 25 years ago. We oppose all laws at any level of government that would restrict, register, or monitor the ownership, manufacture, or transfer of firearms or ammunition. That's about as inclusive as you can get, saying we're not going to infringe your fundamental rights to keep and bear arms. And yet they elected a guy, Bill Weld, who was a rhino governor from Massachusetts, and as part of being a governor, he supported gun control measures, pretty much every gun control measure that Democrats want, and he did it 20, 25 years ago. Gary Johnson said, I've got to have this guy or I'm not going to run. And they wanted 2 governors on their ticket so they could be taken very seriously. This is what William Weld said to Jake Tapper. We got a clip of an interview, Jake Tapper asking him about his opinion on guns. Let's roll that clip.
Well, I'm a lifelong hunter and gun owner, and I don't think those proposals were out of the mainstream.
Feed me my audio.
At all. I distinguish between hunting guns and guns that really don't seem to have any hunting purpose or potential purpose. So that was the distinction I was drawing there. But that's an area where I think Gary and I can find common ground. I'm not worried about that issue.
Yeah. Okay. So, he's going to ban assault weapons, whatever assault weapons are, because, there's not a really good definition of that. It's just anything that looks scary to liberals. That's an assault weapon. It's an assault because it scares them, presumably. Okay. So they're going to ban that because they're not hunting rifles. The word hunting is not in the Second Amendment, Governor Weld. I know you're the original libertarian, according to Gary Johnson, but it's not in there. And, of course, he would do all the rest of the gun prohibition tactics that the left would like, even including some things like banning ownership of guns for 21-year-olds or younger. Okay. But he says, I'm sure that we can reach an agreement with Governor Johnson. That was an interview with Jake Tapper, CNN, before the convention. And then as these guys got the nomination and the number 2, and we covered this last night with Leanne McAdoo, we played some of the clips. So I've got some additional clips that I want to play with you today, some things that you won't believe in terms of trade. And now we see that Obama is in Vietnam pushing the TPP, doing it with people that have been touted as Hillary Clinton's vice presidential picks. So we got some information coming up with that. But before we leave the gun issue, because we're talking about what's happening in L.A., we're talking about the massive overreaction of the police there for what appears to be a murder-suicide. They've got the whole place locked down under martial law. Of course, they don't declare martial law. They just do it. Okay, it's de facto martial law. As William Weld says this, he says, I'm sure we can reach common ground with Gary Johnson. When he and Gary Johnson got the nomination this last weekend, it's been reported that the guy who finished second, Austin Peterson, presented Gary Johnson with a replica of George Washington's pistol. A flintlock pistol, okay? Made a very formal declaration. You now have my support and my gun and so forth and so on. When he left, Gary Johnson just tossed it in the trash, according to witnesses who were there. It's been reported from a number of different sources. It was reported by representatives who were there. It was reported in Liberty Hangout as well as other libertarian publications, bloggers. They took pictures of it. They put it on the web. They said they took it back, showed it to Austin Peterson. He now has that gun back. But Austin Peterson doesn't want to make waves. See, this is about politics. And isn't it pathetic that something as small as the Libertarian Party, and of course they do have 50 state ballot access. That's something they have consistently done. But people who really don't have a chance of winning would sell out their principles like this. It really is sad to see people do this out of a political position. Of course, what they want to do is they want to get on the government teat, okay? They can get government subsidies if they get to 5% nationally. And so they put this ticket together, and as Gary Johnson said, William Weld is a connected guy. He's connected to the Northeast establishment. He knows Mitt Romney. He knows all these Northeastern liberals, the establishment of the Republican Party, as well as the establishment of the Democrats. So they believe they can get some money, they can get 5%, and they are willing the party who elected him is willing to sell out to these two guys because they're both former governors. Now, real quickly, before we go to some of the other news, I wanted to give you some food recall information because I think this is very important. You need to understand and protect yourself. You need to understand how your food supply, like everything else, is very vulnerable. Look at this. Yesterday, General Mills recalls 10 million pounds of flour over a possible link to E. coli outbreaks in 20 different states. Now, these are brands Gold Medal, Signature Kitchen, Wondra Flour. They were sold at Safeway, Albertsons, Jewel, Shaw's, Vons, United, Randall's, and Acme across the country. Now, they say they haven't found any E. coli in any of their flour products, but they're recalling them out of, quote, an abundance of caution. Well, I'd say that's a lot of caution if you're going to recall 10 million pounds of flour. Why would they do that? Well, they've had 38 people that have come down with E. coli between December and May. Half of those people who became ill reported making something with General Mills flour. Some of those people may have eaten raw dough or batter, according to the company. So, important thing here, first of all, don't eat raw dough. Secondly, your food supply is not as safe as you may think it is. Just because it comes in nice, clean packaging doesn't mean that some really nasty stuff can't find its way in there by accident or deliberately. Look at this story out of Taiwan. We got EcoWatch reporting on the 27th of May that Taiwan has recalled Quaker Oats products imported from the U.S. after detecting glyphosate in the oatmeal. They say a random inspection from Taiwan's Food and Drug Administration detected glyphosate in 10 out of 36 oatmeal products it tested. They exceeded the country's legal limit. Well, their legal limit is extremely low. Say they're not Americans. And Americans, we don't have a problem with that because we have a nice, cozy relationship between big agri-lobbyists and the FDA. It's called regulatory capture. And so they say, well, because we have this nice relationship here, we're going to tolerate glyphosate in the food. They don't do that in Taiwan. They also don't allow the growing of GMO there. And if they bring in food that is genetically modified, they have to label it. And of course, that's the whole point of glyphosate. It's been designed by Monsanto to work with their Roundup products. They work hand in hand. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the fourth hour of the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. We're going to be taking the callers who've been on hold for a long time. We're not going to take some new calls because I've got some stuff I want to cover, but I want to try to get the people who've been on hold. That's Michelle, Robert, and Chris. We'll be coming to you in just a moment. I'm going to go back to Joe Biggs because he's got an update as to what's happening there at UCLA with the shooting. Before I do, we have a new product that you may have heard earlier, Alexa Pure Breeze. This is an energy-efficient HEPA plus ion cluster air purification system. We're offering that now at InfoWarsStore.com at 25% off retail. That's $184.99. This introductory offer price. It has a 4-stage purification process for superior air quality, a patented ion cluster technology that kills airborne microbes with a final byproduct of clean water, not ozone. And so this is something that you really need to take a look at. It's very important that you have clean air. You know, some of the basics that you want out of life, you got to have clean air, you got to have clean water, and then you need to look at your food supply and be careful about your food supply. But you have to have air and water. You can't go very long without air and water. This is one thing you can do to purify your air. Alexa Pure Breeze. You know, some of the air that we get indoors is some of the most polluted air you'll find anywhere. And some of that can be generated by you without even knowing it. So that's why it's important to have a purification system in your home. Let's go back to Joe Biggs, who's now at the site of the UCLA shooting. Joe?
I'm actually, were you on lockdown, though? Were you on the campus?
Yeah, I was on campus.
How long were you guys on lockdown for?
Probably like since 10 a.m.
So you've been on lockdown since 10 a.m.?
Yeah, since 10 a.m.
And what did the police come in and say? What did you guys find out? I mean, what were you doing when it happened?
Oh, I was just studying. Yeah, nothing. I have no idea. I heard so many different stories. One was like it was suicide. One was there was like 2 people killed, 2 people they're not sure what happened, and something about 4 shooters. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it's a telephone game. It always changes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, thanks for your time. So what we've been given so far, David Knight, once again, if you're just joining us, I'm at the UCLA campus, where earlier there were reports of an active shooter. Comes to find out that there was actually a murder-suicide. They actually found a note and a gun. And I just spoke with police. They have actually given the all clear, and people are starting to move out now. A lot of the police are moving some of these lines down, letting people go out, allowing them to cross over into the different areas. And You can see students starting to come in and out of the buildings now.
Okay, so they're starting to take down the Marshall